Okay, on with the festivities. I'm really stoked. Michel Mulipola is a man of many faces and many talents. Not only is he an acclaimed comic book illustrator, winning the Gibson Award for the Best New Zealand Comic Artist in 2016, the V-Energy Drink Competition, which was $10,000 and allowed him to start his career as an illustrator, set him up. He's appeared in multiple anthologies, both in New Zealand and overseas, winning the Grand Finalist Award for Secret Walls Eratora Live Arts Battles. Michel said he stumbled across his uncle's stack of comics at the age of 5. The bold colours and bright characters drew his eye, and this love of this form of art has continued. As a Samoan artist, Michel is an enthusiastic promoter of the creative pursuits of the comic book industry, especially within the Pacifica community. He's teamed up with David Riley to produce 2 illustrated books on Pacifica culture, Samoan Heroes and Tongan Heroes. Samoan Heroes won a major award. Michel's graphic novel series, Headlock, combines his other great love in life, wrestling. As a well-known professional wrestler, Michel is involved in Impact Pro Wrestling Championships and competed in 2016 Heavyweight New Zealand Championship. He borrowed the term with a really negative connotation, Bloody Samoan, and through his positivity and whimsical branding of that term, he hopes to depower it of any of those negative connotations. He also helped establish the Arkham City Comics located in the Royal Oak Shopping Arcade in Auckland, and is a fierce advocate for comic drawing and creative expression. He's keen to inspire young talent through regularly visiting schools, running workshops, sharing his unique and fascinating life story in libraries, art galleries, and he also teaches after-school drawing. And, if that's not enough, he says that when he's not doing comic books or wrestling, he describes himself as a semi-competent Tekken player. Today he's been doing lots of things at Comicfest, but right now he's going to show you his techniques and how he goes about creating his wonderful graphic creations. Ladies and gentlemen, Michel Mulipola.
Cool, thank you. There's a lot more people than I expected, to be honest. I kind of expected it to be a bomb scare. But my name's Michel Mulipola. Comic book artist, professional wrestler, and Omen Squad gamer, which means I'm sponsored by HP Omen. So all the things I did as a kid, I get to do as an adult and get paid for it. So that's kind of cool. Living the dream. Anyway, this is about a digital drawing demo. I'm using a program called Clip Studio Paint, also known as Manga Studio. I've been using this form of software in all its iterations for 12 years now. And it's really changed my workflow and just the nature of my work. I'm drawing on a Wacom Mobile Studio Pro, which is a laptop which I can draw directly on the screen with, and I also have a gamer keypad for all my hotkeys. So that's pretty handy. So gaming can help with creating artwork. About how long do I have to? About 45 minutes. 45 minutes, it's kind of a rough timeline to kind of try and create a comic. But essentially, I'll open up to the floor. Any suggestions for anything you want me to draw, I'll do my best to draw it. But in saying that, I think there'll be some time for questions later. Yes. Please wait for the microphone to come over to you before you ask your question. I think we are recording these. But in terms of suggestions for what you want me to draw for 45 minutes, any of the kids have any suggestions? I drew a Pokemon earlier, so I'm not drawing Pokemon. A dragon? I could try a dragon. It's not really my wheelhouse, but I'll give it a go. You're right at the back? A platypus. Ooh, don't have to draw a platypus off the top of my head. I don't think I could draw a platypus well enough without further reference. What was it? A couple of suggestions?
Harry Potter.
I could draw. I draw my version of Harry Potter. I'll give that a go. So yeah, so luckily I'm right-handed. So with my left hand, I'm tapping away on my Razer Tartarus keypad. Let me just. So yeah, so just picking a pencil. One of the things I love about Clip Studio is how natural and intuitive it is for artists, especially if you're looking to jump into the digital world. Essentially, unlike Photoshop, you just pick the tool and draw. You don't have to play around with settings or anything. There's so many amazing kind of tools, just right there. As soon as you open the program, to allow you to just draw straight away, as you can see. So yeah, so just starting off with some construction lines. Pardon me. See here. I kind of realized I was drawing the head almost like an adult male. So I'm just so like you can see me kind of changing the shape of it just to give it more of a prepubescent look. So yeah, with the construction lines, it's pretty much rough guidelines to kind of give me an idea where everything's going to go. Yeah, one of the things I love about digital is that I've got undo. So yeah, and because it's like at the touch of my fingertips, like it's real easy just to, yeah. So I don't have to worry about keyboard too much. Actually, let me just. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, so I'm just using what I can remember off the top of my head, and all I remember is riding broomsticks. Yeah, and catching this little ball with wings. So yeah. Now, one of the things as an artist is that you're constantly taking in your surroundings, and even though I don't watch Harry Potter, I've seen bits and pieces around that. Like I'm kind of reaching into my own kind of visual library to kind of figure out what I'm drawing and how he's going to look. So yeah, so forgive me if he looks wrong. But it's also part of the fun of creating stuff. Is a lot of the trials and tribulations, the mistakes, the journey is kind of part of being an artist, or the right steps you made or the wrong steps you made. So yeah, so I don't mind making mistakes. I don't know about making them in public like this, but that's what I'm being paid to do. So yeah. But you can see how it's coming together, the shapes and stuff. Like essentially, the human body is a very complicated thing to draw, and so one of the easiest ways to kind of draw it is to break it down into simple shapes. Yeah, just add my little spin to it. Let's see, what angle would that broom be at? Kind of, again, the joy of digital. As I could go, thank you, center it a bit. So yeah, so I'm creating all these different layers on the side, just out of habit, because again, it's a fingertip away with my short keys. Sorry, that's my that's my ringtone. I forgot to silence my phone. That was Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, as soon as I heard that in the movie, I was like, that's going to be my text message ringtone. Yeah. Didn't realize how loud it was until now. So yeah, essentially, I'm drawing on different layers just to kind of, kind of preserve bits and pieces. I can kind of remove bits and pieces like that, hide it. Okay, let's see. And now I can lower the opacity. Actually, no, I'll probably stick with that. The red. I prefer to kind of do the pencils in red. You'll see like a lot of people who use the blue pencil. But blue doesn't really, like my eyes don't pick up blue as well. So I prefer red. He's going to be bored. The scar got rid of his hair. Gave him alopecia. Yeah. That's kind of the thing I love about drawing is you can draw whatever you like for whatever reason you like. That's the power you have as a creator, is that you can make things as silly or as serious as you want it to. So yeah. Go a mohawk. Well, actually, let's do a mashup and go. It's Aang and Harry Potter. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with this. I am going with Aang and the Harry Potter mashup. Yeah. I missed that series. That series is so good. Yeah. Okay, so Aang. Now I have to try and figure out what Aang's costume's like. Trying to think. I could, if I'm going to be stupid about it, I could. It's well, technically it's a wind bison fur covered broom. So a wind bison had to die to decorate it. Yeah. 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 Who knew that Aang was a Harry Potter fan? He's a pothead. Yeah. But, actually, we just realized that could be a thing. The van braces. So this is still rough pencils. Like I'm just kind of adding a bit more detail, and then the fun kind of comes in for me, especially is the inking stage. I kind of keep my pencils pretty rough because I want everything I draw to have its own kind of energy. So rather than just constantly drawing the same thing over and over again, which gets pretty boring, I kind of like having each stage of the process have its own unique energy. And then I usually surprise myself at the end. I'm like, oh, that turned out all right. So yeah. Yeah, started. To think to start off as Harry Potter and then turn into some random avatar. Let's see. Trying to think what I could. Oh yeah, Momo. Yeah, with Momo ears. What's Momo's ears look like? Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So that stuff kind of. Yeah. So yeah. So without the. So yeah. So I got rid of the construction stuff now that I've kind of laid out most of the details. It's only been 15 minutes. I might be like if I finish this quick enough, I might actually be able to throw in some quick color. So yeah. Again, that's one of the things I love about digital. It like allows you to kind of just create work quickly. Whoops, just got used to like if you're working digital, get used to saving, and I just press save because it's just the habit. I'll save it afterwards. But yeah, get into the habit of saving if you're drawing digital regularly, and because of I've got a hotkey that save is just automatic. Like I just tap like every 5 minutes. I just automatically save. Yeah, it saves your life. So yeah, so this again is just one of the basic inking tools, and you see how easy it was. I just went straight to an inking thing rather than finding the brush and tweaking all the settings like you do in Photoshop. Photoshop is amazing for graphics and photo manipulation, which it's designed for. In terms of art, it's like for me, it's just too cumbersome. But like I know a lot of people who are used to Photoshop, so that's all they draw in. But for me, I was just like, nah. I want to just draw. I don't want to work to find the tools that I need to draw with. And so yeah, so Clip Studio was an amazing program that I found, and it's cheap. That's the best thing, especially if you're starting out. Like I think on Special, the basic version, which is pretty much all the bells and whistles minus a few tools, is like $29 US, and it's just you buy it and it's yours. It's not a subscription. It's just one-off fee. I think the full version on Special is sometimes $89 US. So yeah, so one of the biggest achievements as a freelancer, as an artist, is that I used to pirate the software, and I got successful enough that I was like, I'm actually gonna buy it. So yeah, so that's one of those small victories as a freelancer you get, is when you're in the position where you're like, I can actually pay for the software I pirated. Yeah, so yeah, and then now I'm like an actual influencer for Clip Studio, so they don't know the history. This is recorded, eh? Redact that, please. But yeah, But no, yeah, it's a program that I absolutely love. I highly recommend. As I said, it's cheap as, and there's all kinds of kind of tools, especially if you're making comics, because this is designed for illustration and comic books. And so um, if I wanted to do a comic panel, I can use this tool to create the panel and mask the outside. So, like, if I wanted to draw, like that's me like going right past it, but it kind of saves it. So it's nice and easy to kind of do comic panels and preserve the artwork without having to worry about going past the panel borders. So yeah, there's little things like that that just make this software so damn awesome. Sorry, let's see. Yeah, I always start with the face first when I'm drawing it because that's usually the thing that everyone looks at first. And if the character you're drawing, the face doesn't look right, or the expression on their face doesn't look right, that's the first thing people see. So yeah, that doesn't look right. Um, gee. Cool. Actually, let me cheat. Yep. Yeah. There's awesome rulers in this software as well. Let me just. Yeah, there's perspective rulers as well, so that makes drawing backgrounds way easier. Actually, that looks a little too. That looks much better. Let's see. Try and get a bit more of a uniform thickness to the glasses. I don't wear glasses myself, so I'm unfamiliar with the way they look. Let's see. That's another layer. Cool. But you can see how like the pencils kind of inform the line work, but then I also allow the line work to kind of be its own thing as well. Actually, I was just thinking, while I'm drawing, we can open up to questions, and I can answer them while I'm drawing. So yeah, so rather than everyone just sitting awkwardly in silence while I'm drawing, I'll do my best to answer your questions. Yeah. Oh, actually, one of the cool things about this software as well is that you can draw in transparency. So if I have a big black spot here, this here is the transparency, and so I can go draw transparency, and then underneath that layer is that's one of the coolest things. Is like you can cut into black using a transparency rather than white. That's one of the tricks I like to use when I'm using a lot of blacks and heavy shadows, especially with silhouettes. Just kind of using the transparency pen to kind of cut into some details of a silhouette rather than having it just straight black, just the odd line here and there. So we've got the mics. So if you have a question, Neil over here will. Yep.
Hi, I was just wondering, my ignorance of the program, the line drawing with the cursor, like the thick, thin lines that you're doing in the
Yes.
line, is it anything to do with how you're using the cursor, or is it just the type of line that you've chosen?
So the Wacom pens are amazing. They're battery free, and I think they use magnetic pressure. So I think this one has 4,000 or 8,000 levels of pressure. So essentially, I can, just using pressure, change the width of a line. And so that's kind of what I'm doing. So like I have it in a certain space, but like the pressure I'm applying to the pen allows more control over the width of the pen. So it's pressure sensitive rather than using like cursor kind of thing. No, it's cool.
Oh, cheers. Just wondering about the sort of technology setup overall. You mentioned you've got Clip Studio, and a Wacom pen. What tablet have you got and stuff?
Yeah, so this is a Wacom Mobile Studio Pro. So it's just a small laptop that I draw directly under. Oh, yeah, that's
Cool.
right. Yeah, it has auto rotate too. So yeah, so like I could draw it that way, but I totally forgot that was a thing. So yeah, so it's essentially a laptop I draw directly on the screen with. They're very expensive, but luckily due to the nature of my work, when I first upgraded to this, just realized. When I first upgraded to this computer, I got some advertising work. Yeah, I just realized my USBs popped out. I did some advertising work which paid for itself in the weekend that I got it. So I was just like, yay! But oftentimes as a freelancer you aren't that lucky. But like it was very much an investment in my work and into the business.
If you were just starting out, are there sort of cheap and cheerful versions that you
Yep,
would recommend?
Wacom have a whole range of cheaper alternatives. So like the Interwas, is that still a thing? Interwas, or was it Bamboo Touch or something? Yeah, those are the kind of entry level ones. Those are ones that connect to an already existing PC or Apple Mac, and you don't get the luxury of drawing on the screen. I kind of miss it because I started off with one of those. I kind of miss not having my big hands like in the way of my artwork. So yeah, because you get so used to just kind of watching the screen and having a hand move, and then when you go back to this, you're like, oh, my hand's in the way. So yeah, so that's kind of the entry level stuff. I think there's another company, Huion, who do cheaper alternatives of like this stuff as well. So yeah, I'm trying to get in good with those guys so they can give me some gear to test. So yeah, living the influencer life. So yeah, yeah. So those are alternatives for this kind of technology, especially if you're doing digital. Yeah. the stylus and stuff just makes things much more natural in terms of drawing. But there's some amazing artists who've done work with mouse, and I'm just like, that's crazy. So yeah, they're all tools essentially. That's they aren't gonna. I don't have a magic button on my keypad that will let me do the artwork for me. It's still my skill, my years of work, kind of informing the artwork, but just using the digital tools at hand.
Hey, excuse me, I just want to know, how long have you been doing this work, though?
I've been drawing since I could remember. In terms of being a professional, about 7-8 years now, where I felt like I can actually call myself a professional. A lot of times as artists, we suffer from imposter syndrome, like I am, especially when I'm on the panel with Roger Langridge, Sharon Murdoch, and Dylan Horrocks later on. I'm just like, what am I doing there? But yeah, like I was proud to kind of call myself a professional about 6 to 7 years ago. And that's one of those things that always feels a little funny, because you're like, I draw pictures for money. Like, if this wasn't my job, I'd be drawing anyway, and that's the cool thing. So yeah, so I've been doing it for a while, but like in terms of just drawing, ever since I was a kid, like it's just always comics and drawing have always been part of my life for so long. Any other questions? Cool, thank you.
How long did it take for you to fully learn the ins and outs of the program?
As I said, because it's actually quite intuitive. Like in terms of just drawing, I just kind of open canvas and draw. And that's where it all started. And then as I started creating more work, I wanted to learn more. So in terms of just kind of learning it, I just kind of did it by just playing around with the software. There are some tutorials online, and a good friend of mine, I think, is going to be doing a PDF tutorial on the ins and outs of Clip Studio later on this year. But for me, I like to get my hands dirty, and I like to learn. I learn by doing things, and tinkering and stuff. So yeah, so that's kind of how I learned it, is just by drawing and going, oh, I wonder if there's this function, and then, oh, they do have this function. So it's the long way, but it's the way that I experience and learn. So yeah.
Kia ora, Michael.
Hi.
Kia ora. You said you've always been drawing.
Yes.
What did you like to draw when you were younger?
Oh,
What were
superheroes.
what were the most common things?
Superheroes, like that's
Superheroes.
yeah, like as a kid who fell in love with comics at such a young age, like all I wanted to draw was superheroes, and and every now and then there'll be wrestlers because they were like real life superheroes, but yeah, superheroes definitely number one. One of the things that I absolutely love to draw, and I still love to draw, because superheroes are still a big part of my life. And like I've been fortunate enough to illustrate some trading cards for Marvel. So like I've officially drawn like superheroes I grew up reading. And I've illustrated like 70 trading cards for Marvel so far. And I've drawn everyone from Spider-Man to Captain America to Thanos and some of my obscure favorites like Quasar and Darkhawk and Novas and stuff like, oh, I get to choose who I draw. And so yeah, it's kind of surreal, those moments. Again, as a kid who grew up reading the stuff, it's kind of cool. So yeah, superheroes. Now, like as an artist, you're drawing anything and everything. Everything contributes to that visual library that you keep in your head to pull out from whenever you're drawing stuff. That's why, like, I'm like all this. I'm like, okay, think about those times you drew Aang and stuff like that. Like, yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
So I had like two questions. One of them is just like a real silly one. But who's your favorite Last Airbender character?
Oh, that's General Iroh. Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, Iroh, because I kind of identify with Iroh.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the wrestling scene, I'm one of the older veteran wrestlers, and I'm constantly giving advice to younger, stupid wrestlers. And then every now and then, I wish I had like a teapot to throw at people. Like, but so yes, it's definitely General Iroh, and I'm a huge fan of Marco as well.
Yeah.
I love his stuff as like Ku and Samurai Jack. So like General Iroh, like I think is my favorite.
Yeah.
But like in terms of Korra, my favorite character was Zahir.
He
Yeah,
was
Henry
really
Rollins
good
was so
villain.
cool.
Yeah.
And when he had that moment where you start flying, I was like, oh my god, this is awesome.
amazing.
So I also liked Amon.
Yeah.
Not necessarily what he did, but I identified with the equalist movement in terms of everyone is equal kind of thing. So I did cosplay as Amon one year for Free Comic Book Day. So I kind of like the bad guys. So
Sorry,
there's
I thought that would be like an easy one, but obviously like it's the most difficult question.
I'm just like but no, Dino Iro definitely is,
Yes,
is who I really liked.
My second question was I had never actually thought to use a gaming hotkey thing for your art, and that's amazing seeing that. I was just wondering what were some of the short keys that you had. I've been kind of trying to pay attention to what you're doing, and
So I've got my pen, but double tap of the pen goes to pencil, because I kind of customized the hotkeys in the program to have the same function. I've got rulers, I got copy and paste, I've got insert image, I've got transform, move, lasso, undo, duplicate layer, group layers, and then delete, new layer, and save. I think are the main ones. All these little bits and pieces, and then because there's like a thumbstick and other things, so that's like space, so I can move around. I click and it zooms in. The scroll wheel I use for the size of the brush, so I can easily change the size of the brush. So there's little things like that, like kind of customized it. But then I accidentally pressed it. So there's profiles as well. So you can see CS Paint. But if I click on the scroll wheel, or go to my Photoshop hotkeys. Which are kind of a little bit different than in Clip Studio.
Hi, me again.
Hey, what's up?
So I had two questions because you were talking earlier about drawing superheroes when you were littler, yeah. I was wondering if you had a favorite character that you had made.
That I've created?
Yes.
Man. I don't know. That's kind of hard. I guess one of the characters I co-created with Samoa Joe, who's a WWE wrestler, for Headlocked was probably one of the ones I really enjoyed creating. The Samoan War King is what we called him. And he was a mixture of Samoa Joe and Mark Hunt. And as a Samoan artist, I wanted to kind of, make sure that I do it right. And so it was a bit of a pain on the ass because he had tattoos, like Samoan tattoos. Now, you draw a tattoo, like you see how intricate Samoan tattoos are, right? Try drawing that. 6 panels, different angles on one page. It took me more time to draw the tattoos than it did the whole story. So pretty much what I did was like, I'm drawing the figures, and then afterwards I'm going to draw the tattoos. But it was worth it because I put in a lot of research into the tattoos and the designs, making sure that the designs were legit. They weren't just like, hey, these are like Samoan tattoos. No, these are actual patterns used in Samoan tattoo. And it was just a fun story just to kind of tell that and to create that kind of character. So the representation as a Polynesian, especially doing this kind of work, there's barely any of us. There's a few Hawaiians, but like South Pacific, it's kind of like it's almost like me. I don't want to be the only one. Like opportunities like this to share my work, to share my story, hopefully encourages other kids like me who grew up wanting to do this stuff to let them know it's possible. But no, Samoan War King is definitely was definitely a character I absolutely loved. He's in one of the Headlocked volumes that are outside. I must admit though, Headlocked is not for kids. There's a lot of adult themes and a lot of swearing. So there's that. But there's also the WWE stuff that I've done, which is available as well. That's for kids. So getting to draw some of my favorite wrestlers as a kid growing up for the WWE was kind of cool as well. Like even though they're not my characters, I got to draw like Bret Hart, Macho Man Randy Savage, Jake the Snake, Undertaker, Ric Flair, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm just like, oh my god, this is my job. But no, Simon Walking, I would say, would be my favorite character I've created so far.
Just my final question. I'm going to stop now. I was just wondering, because you said you also did illustrations for the Marvel trading cards.
Yep.
It's basically the same question as who was your favorite that you got to do in that series?
Dormammu, actually. I actually had a lot of fun drawing Dormammu. The last set of 30 cards I illustrated, it was for the MCU 10th anniversary set. And I had 30 to draw, and I had free reign to draw whoever I wanted. And I realized the bad guys get no love. So I drew 20 bad guys and 10 good guys, and I had a lot of fun drawing the bad guys. I drew pretty much most of the bad guys, main bad guys from the MCU, and Dormammu was definitely a lot of fun to draw. Dormammu and Thanos. Thanos is always fun to draw. Ultron, I really enjoyed Ultron. Actually, I got to draw a comic version of Claw, Ulysses Claw, which is a crazy, weird design, but it's one of the ones that stick out for me as a kid. I was like, yes, I get to draw a comic version of Claw. I'm trying to think. Dormammu was definitely one of my favorites to illustrate.
Are you very good at drawing dragons?
Dragons are one of those things that I have to really sit down and do some research on. I can make up stuff that maybe looks like a dragon, but it'll look like a really bad dragon. I'm not Katie O'Neill. She's awesome at drawing dragons. It's like, as an artist, you would love to be able to go, I could draw anything. But the reality is, nah. As much as I'd love to be able to draw anything and everything, there's still a lot of study. There's still a lot of reference to store in my visual library. And dragons, I rarely get the opportunity to draw. So, I am not confident in drawing a dragon.
So we've just about got enough time for maybe one more question. So maybe two then.
I was just wondering if you have a system for keeping track of all of your layers.
No,
there are quite
I
a lot
don't.
down there.
It's chaos theory. It's like I don't name them. I know this. I'm just like, there's just all those layers, and then I just go, which one's that one? Oh, there it is. Yeah. You just kind of make it visible or not, and then you'll find that that's the layer I was trying to find. So it's chaos theory, just like my room. It's the organized chaos that a lot of artists thrive in. I have no system whatsoever in terms of keeping track of what I've got, what layers I've drawn and whatnot.
Talofa, thank you for sharing your inner creative world with us today. Down the front.
Oh,
hi. You obviously you're an artist, right? You tell your stories through drawing.
Yep.
But how have you developed your actual storytelling techniques, like in sense of the character and where's the story going and how should it end, and that's a bit of a journey as well, isn't it?
So storytelling, in the comics, people, a lot of times when you say comics, people think superheroes, right? Comic books are a medium; they're not genre. So if you have a story to tell, you can use the medium of comics to tell it. It could be as fun, it could be as serious, it could be any types of subject matter. And the cool thing is that there's no budget for what you can draw. You can make it as fantastical, as realistic as you want it to be. There's no limitations. And in terms of storytelling, it's visual storytelling. So you read a lot of comics. I watch a lot of films, animation. I study that stuff. I look at shots and whatnot, cinematography, video games as well. Every now and then you'll see this amazing shot in the video game. Ooh, that's cool. Or one of my favorite uses of camera angles is in the Resident Evil series, where it was fixed camera, and there was a lot of weird angles, obtuse angles and stuff, and it just kind of added to the atmosphere. And so I kind of took that into my kind of visual library to use in certain stories. So you just, anything and everything is inspiration for storytelling. People you meet, people you see across the street, people you draw. One of the things I love to do is stalk people and draw. But like it's okay because I have a pen and pad, so like it's all good. If I didn't have a pen and pad, there's another story. But that's the cool thing about being an artist. When I was in New York and I was sitting in the subway and I had my little sketch pad, travel sketch pad with me, sketchbook, and I wanted to draw people, but it's New York, right? Someone might stab me. So I was like, I'm gonna draw people's shoes. And so it was cool because I didn't usually draw shoes, or detailed shoes. And so like I got to draw a whole bunch of shoes and people were like, oh, you drawing? Like, oh, cool. And so like I didn't have to like awkwardly like stare in the New Yorker in the face, like going like that, and then have them call the police or something. So little things like that, like inspiration comes from anything and everything. Stories can be told through visual mediums or through people, or audio stories as well. Cool. Yeah, that's cool. I think we're finishing up now. Let me just finish up this Momo snitch.
And while Michael's just finishing that, we've got another panel. The New Zealand panel is up next, so if you're interested in staying around for that. And Michael, you've got another one coming up as well, haven't you?
Yep, 3:55, I think we're saying.
3:55, so Michael...
Main one with where I'm overly powered. I was like, oh, okay, what am I doing on this panel? I guess I'm the token brown guy. But no, that's kind of what I'm up to afterwards later on. So hopefully you can join me and the other panelists for that at the end of this session, really.
So it just remains for me to say thank you very much, Michael. That was fantastic.
Thank
and
you for
if everyone could show their appreciation in the usual fashion, that'd be fun.
Just also one quick note about Clip Studio Paint is that it's amazingly fast compared to Photoshop. It's not resource heavy. So I think the limits I've pushed this program to was A0, 350 DPI, 850 layers, full color. It only took 2 minutes to load, but once it loaded, it was all good. So I've pushed this software to its limit. So keep that in mind if you're looking to purchase it. Cool. Thank you.